Welcome to Critical Penetrator. Today we're going to be talking about Firestorm Armada and why I cannot wait for this game to come out. Okay, so what is Firestorm Armada and why should you care? Well, if you're watching my channel, I cover science fiction, naval war games, and so this is very much exactly the kind of game which I'm covering on my channel and is something that I'm really excited about, and that's why I'm making this video today. Firestorm Armada has had quite a dramatic story, and you can go and Google and probably AI Google search the exact story of things which have happened in the past for Firestorm Armada. But I'm not going to get into that here because that is not the subject of this video. The subject of this video is the brand new reimagining of Firestorm Armada by Warcradle Games, and so I won't be touching on any of the Spartan era of the game because that's not actually relevant for what I want to talk about in the video. Spartan Games unfortunately went under and they were sold, or the IPs, or some of the IPs that they owned, were sold onto Warcradle in 2017. And this is a spaceship naval war game where you play as one of several unique races as you pilot your ships versus your opponent on the tabletop. And as you can see, that's exactly what we want for this channel. The game has been in stasis for a while as the development was impacted by COVID, and as you can understand, purchasing an IP as massive as this right before the changes to all businesses impacted by COVID was probably incredibly unfortunate for the company. And now we're kind of seeing the other side of that, I believe, because in 2025 we had a very exciting announcement from Warcradle that they were ramping up the development and had installed Robin Cruddas as the lead game developer and Richard Morgan as the key narrative writer. These two gentlemen are in themselves fairly exciting to have installed into the Warcradle team. However, the titles that they were given are actually far more interesting to me because I think, especially Richard Morgan as key narrative writer. This to me says that he might not be writing what you would consider to be the standard army book, codex book, or rule book lore that you get with every single game. It says more to me that he might be writing the text that will be the underpinning lore and underpinning the whole entire IP for the game. And so, for example, companies like Games Workshop and all other wargame companies that are worth anything will have a behind the scenes core textbook, which gives the writers for the lore the parameters on what exactly everything is. Might not get directly explained to the customer or the consumer, but it will outline things. So, just as an example, well, perhaps one species might not have faster than light travel, and so they can never have that. They don't have that technology, and so then any law which is created around them, they need to know that they do not have that technology, and so these are the kinds of things that are really important if they are beginning their own brand new intellectual property. It's very important to get all of that ironed out and have everyone on the same page. And so these kind of like back end documents are the sorts of things which get written by companies that know what they're doing. And I feel like, I don't know, I have no idea, but I feel like that might be Richard Morgan's job. Robin Cruddas, lead game developer, is the kind of position that he held at Games Workshop for a while because he was the lead developer or lead game designer for Warhammer 40,000 8th edition. Don't want to talk too much more about any Warhammer games here because I don't particularly like them, but it's just worth knowing that he has spent a very long time in the industry, as we'll see on one of the next slides. Robin, as we have just mentioned, is famous for his work over quite a long time at Games Workshop. He worked on several codexes that I had when I was a teenager, and he also worked on army books that my friends had had when I was in my early 20s. And he eventually became the lead developer for Warhammer 40,000, and I believe that his strongest game that he ever created there was the 8th edition of Warhammer 40,000. You can find him on the internet in some long forgotten Games Workshop YouTube channel where he looks very serious about his new Tomb King's army book. Perhaps that's more anxiety of the fact of having to be shoved on the internet like that, when perhaps you'd just rather be near a computer doing your work. When Richard Morgan was announced, they mentioned Altered Carbon, and the name rung a bell with me because I have experienced or known something about Altered Carbon for quite a while. I'd like to talk about him, but I'm going to save this for a future Firestorm video because I find his worlds and writing pretty cool. He has a very dark technological and political view on some of his works, and I find that probably quite compelling, to be quite honest. And yeah, I find his writing really cool, and it's worth giving some proper attention. And so we will make a dedicated video in the future, just exploring some of the stuff he's written, and maybe looking at how perhaps he might be writing things for Firestorm. If you are excited about this new version of Firestorm Armada by Warcradle Studios, please let me know down in the comments below. I assume there's going to be quite a lot of crossover with players of Dropfleet Commander, players of Dystopian Wars, and I think everyone's just kind of culminating to this mishmash in Firestorm Armada. That's what I assume will happen, because spaceships are cool and Warcradle games are cool, and so the two things together should make quite a good little mashup there. So what we know for certain is that these two gentlemen, alongside the team at Warcradle, are creating a brand new universe IP from the ground up. So that's a big task. It's not a small job, and that will obviously take a little bit of time. And it's right up my alley for my YouTube channel. And my wargaming. I'm extremely excited about the potential for this game and the world and the setting. I am making this video because I'm going to start making regular Firestorm videos in the build up to the game releasing. I have no idea when that is, and it's going to be pretty hard to make videos about things which we don't know. So we're going to be coming up with all sorts of things that we can do to try and engage and create a small Firestorm community on the channel. Something of substance that I do want to talk about today is the way that Warcradle make the art for their miniatures. And we can see examples where they have created art which is almost exactly the same as the miniatures they end up creating. This is part of their design process and they share it regularly. I've seen these little drawings everywhere really, from YouTube, Google searches, on their Discord, which if you are not familiar with, you should join it and see all this great art that they're putting out, and also the fantastic miniatures. This on the screen here is from their game Armored Clash, which they released in 2024. And you can see the way they draw the miniatures and the way they are positioned here. It's almost exactly how they will end up and come out when they get turned into actual plastic miniatures. The two miniatures in this picture are 10mm size, so you can see they are highly detailed, very well painted for the scale. If you've got to think that the tank there is probably, if it's tipped up onto its front end, probably about the same size as a human in a 28 or 32mm scale game. So it's a very small thing. And they create and share art for their games and miniatures in the prototype line art format. And it's really good to see this because they obviously have someone who is making these, creating these. Perhaps it's also the sculptors as well. I don't know. I would love to know if anyone at Warcradle is watching and wants to share that with me. I would be incredibly grateful for that information. So then I can try to credit people where credit is due. They usually turn these line drawings into hard plastic miniatures of the same design, and we can see a lot of examples of this, especially in their Discord group, where they share lots of different designs for all different kinds of miniatures coming out, and it's part of their hype. I believe it's part of the way they hype up their games to the people who are most invested. And to be honest, I will open up that Discord server, have a quick scroll through and see if anything new has been posted by Stuart or whoever else is going to be posting up the designs in there. I think it's usually Stuart. And I have a good look at them. I share them to the local community that play Dystopian Wars and Armored Clash here, and then I close it and wait a few days and then check again. And I periodically do this, and I have been doing it pretty much ever since Armored Clash came out because I was super hyped for Armored Clash, and I still am now. It's a very cool and good game, but it's not the kind of thing that I will cover on the channel. So yeah, following on from this, we can see that the same sort of drawings are done for Firestorm Armada, and these drawings were done pre-announcement of Robin Cruddas and pre-announcement of Richard Morgan. So There is potential for these to have changed. They might redo all of these drawings for the ships, and this might not be the miniatures we end up getting in the end. However, if they're to follow the same trajectory as they have done before, I would see absolutely no reason why a company would put the time and effort into creating these fantastic designs and then just throw them away. Because miniatures really are kind of forever. Once you've created the concept and created the art, you've then, perhaps got the molds created and tools and everything. And you can pretty much have those miniatures forever, and the rules will change and be over time, new editions will come out and things, but the miniatures can, by and large, stay the same so long as the company doesn't fold or create massive changes or remove miniatures like Games Workshop will want to do. So, yeah, can we say for any certainty that these are what the miniatures will look like? No, not really. But if we look at the previous examples of what Warcradle do now, and they have done for quite a long time now, and we follow that all the way in the through line to now, I'm quite comfortable to say that this is more or less what we're going to see from Firestorm Armada for the miniatures. And as someone who quite enjoys the top left cerulean picture there, I think that is an absolutely massive upgrade on what they used to look like before. I like that blocky design, but this looks a lot more alien, and I think it's fantastic. There are a few more here that I have to show you, and these are freely available on the Warcradle blog. I just don't think many people have gone and had a look at that recently. I think it holds some information that could show what these models are going to look like when they eventually do come out. And then in this last slide here, I absolutely love is that the Ralthosa, I think that's how you say them. Yeah, it looks like a spider web membrane style thing, which is attached to the outside of a mechanical vessel. And I think that's the coolest thing ever. If they give us that as a miniature, then I will be a Ralthosa player in the new edition of Firestorm Armada, because I just think that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so just at the end of the video now, or near to the end of the video, I wanted to address something that comes up when anyone mentions Firestorm Armada. And this actually happened to me when I was gathering some information and trying to make videos about Firestorm Armada a couple of months ago now. Is that Spartan Games fans were upset for a reason, whether that be that the game company had closed, their feelings towards the other company, and not given the full attention to the game that they loved. And I just want to say, I understand where they're coming from. I feel the same about Drop Fleet Commander that I've covered here on my channel quite extensively, and you can go and take a look right now at all of the different videos I have created in the very recent history of my short history of my YouTube channel. It feels like the unloved child as soon as they move on to Drop Zone, and that is kind of what it feels like. Even the community manager said so in the Discord server, essentially that he prefers Drop Zone, and that's just come out and that's the new thing. So he's which is totally valid and fine. He can go and do whatever he likes, but it does make you feel a little bit disheartened to think that perhaps the game that you really enjoy made by that company might just be a side project. And I can understand that. However, I do now feel that the time is to start brushing off those feelings and embrace the good times with Firestorm Armada, because it's going to benefit significantly from the current miniature making technology that Warcradle Studios have developed. It'll actually be very interesting because they have come quite a long way in a very short space of time. They're even updating sprues, which are only about 6 years old. And I find that really interesting. They're obviously embracing technology and pushing things to be better. And in our local group, we do all consider the Warcradle miniatures for Dystopian Wars, and especially for Armoured Clash, to be the absolute pinnacle of miniatures at the moment. The 10mm stuff they create absolutely smashes things like Legions Imperialis out of the water. And that's our genuine opinions of about 5 or 6 people that are all at the same game club. So yeah, we absolutely love their models. And yeah, the renowned rules writer and narrative direction being brought in, I think, is obviously a massive boon for the game. They're spending money on this. It's not something that's being half-assed or done inappropriately or improperly. And to me, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be keeping up my own hype levels, and as soon as more information is available on the game, I'll be smashing out videos to cover all the news as soon as I can. If you want to come along on the ride with me, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything. I'll be here to keep everyone updated on everything as soon as I am able to. I'll be releasing some videos covering older miniatures for the game and older rulebook reviews, so we have something to talk about whilst we wait for the new edition to drop. You can check out my older unboxing and comparison video of some of the ships and look forward to future Firestorm videos on the channel. I'm going to try and aim for one a month, so long as there's something decent that we can really be talking about. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope that you liked it and enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. Share it with someone else who enjoyed Firestorm Armada, and if you want to see more videos, please subscribe, as that helps my channel out a lot. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.